All right, so bye week for us probably came at a good time. I think normally you're wanting to keep playing. I just look at that stretcher where going back to the GLI, you get a couple of practices. Then we played pretty steady. We're on the road a lot, and it's good to get caught up on some things and keep working on our game. And we asked our guys we want to try to be a better team. We were our last week in a plan, and on Thursday, and so far I think we've gotten better. We've worked on some things, and looking forward to playing Notre Dame. I think they're a really good team. I look at obviously coaching change and adjusting to it, but I think you look at their roster. There's a lot of talent. I look at Cole Knuble and Danny Nelson as good a forwards as are in our conference. Sutter Mazzotti's having a great season. Werner's a heck of a player. Got Fisher on the back end and a world junior goalie. So we're going to have to be at our best if we expect to have success.
In a programming, very process-driven program, I'm wondering where the regular season championship, where that stands for you, is a carrot or something in the day-to-day, goals or whatnot, especially that you've won it twice already.
Yeah, I think, we don't talk about it much. We don't have a standings board. We don't bring it up to our guys. We're focused on one day at a time, right? And I think that those things take care of themselves, right? And we have been really consistent the last couple of years here, and I feel like this year we have as well, and that's the goal, right? And that just doesn't happen. You got to be a consistent, everyday player when you get to the rink and your lifestyle, and so we're going to continue to focus on that one day at a time, one game at a time, one practice at a time. And I know our fans are proud of us having a chance to win some championships around here, but I think those things take care of themselves, right? We got to make sure that we got one more practice tomorrow. Let's make sure we're dialed in, and when we go out and play, every time we play, we want to play better than we did the last game, and we got an opportunity to do that on Thursday.
Is that? I know the way it felt when you won it 2 years ago. At the beginning was sort of this early validation of where things were going. And I'm wondering, is it just different now, given the success you've had, the talent you have, what you have, than it was a couple of years ago?
I think every year is a different year, and you got a new group of guys, and our staff's job is to try to, I think your number one job as a coaching staff is to unify the group and make it a team, right? And so that's what you start with, and we're fortunate with the not only the quality of players but people that we've recruited, right? We got really good kids on our team that come from great families, and but I think we live in that world of. Don't worry about the past and just focus on the now, right? And stay in discipline with that. And so, I think every year is different. There's a different story to it. I think one of the things I do think that's been probably the same as the consistency that we've played at, right? And so we got to make sure we do that. You can lose that too, right? And that was one of the goals we took over the program, right? Is we want to be a consistent program, right? Not just have one good year. You want to be repeatable, and I think we've done that for a couple of years here, but you can lose that too. So we got to make sure we stay on it.
You guys have been in this position before, number one inside track for a title. I'm curious, the past couple of seasons, what you think some of the older guys in the team might have been able to learn from those experiences going into this season, where that you guys sort of have that inside track, and there is that focus.
Yeah, I think it's just the discipline of tuning out noise, right? And that's, we don't talk about rankings. I don't care. We don't care about rankings. We care about getting better, right? And so every day we got a chance to get better, and we think if we get the right type of person in here and you put them in that environment, you're hopefully the byproduct is you're consistently improving, right? And I feel like we're not perfect, but I feel like we've done that, and that's the same message here for the group. And so we got some guys that have gone through it, and what I think it is, when you recruit people that are into that, right? If you're into, posting stuff and about Instagram and that, you probably wouldn't like coming here, and that's okay, right? I'm not saying we're right, but I think this is what we're focused on, things that have substance. I don't think social media or rankings have substance. I think getting better has substance, and I think our group has so far this year, but we still have a lot of hockey here left, right? And so we want to make sure we play our best down the stretch, and we got a chance here come Thursday to start doing that.
You tell them guys don't care about that kind of stuff, and they're just focused on the day-to-day. Like, how early in the process can you tell?
Well, I think, again, you try to do your homework on families, right? And what do they value? And obviously we got a beautiful facility, and we always say to kids, I don't want you coming here because we got a cool locker room, right? It's not going to get you better. And so we want people that put the team first, right? So if you're looking for a promise to be on a spot on the power play, that's not going to happen here. And some people like that and come, and some don't like it and they don't come, and that's fine. I think that you can start to maybe weed out some people that maybe would struggle in this type of environment, right? Because again, we're not perfect, but it is flat out about the team, and it's not about your brand. And I do think that likes attract like, and people that are looking for that, I think Michigan State's one of the spots they'll consider.
Coming down the stretch this late in the season, how helpful was it to, I guess, have the bye week kind of later in the season and give them a rest as far as from a physical and a mental aspect?
Yeah, I think going back to that, you look at that stretch. We had a couple practices. We played in the GLI. We played the national team. We went to Ohio State. We went to Wisconsin. We played Minnesota at home. We went to Penn State. Then we played Michigan, at their building and at LCA. So there's a lot of emotions in there and some big games. And so, I think it came at a pretty good time. And I think our guys they're ready to play now, right? We practiced hard here, and they're ready to play against someone else. But I think resetting here and getting organized on how we got maybe some opportunity to work on some special situations that happen in games, and then now it's stretch run, right? There's no more break, and we got to make sure we're playing our best hockey here.
So is it hard to have, like, Russell and Stramel, veteran guys as good as they are? Is it hard to have that sort of talent as seniors in college hockey, and the advantage you have in sort of the varying, some really talented freshmen, but some guys who are elite at the older, in terms of a mix of a rock?
It is tough. Yeah, it is tough. I think it's getting tougher and tougher, right? There's especially if you're recruiting some guys that are maybe high picks, they got a chance to move on pretty quick, right? And so, Charlie made I thought a mature decision of he had a good year last year, but he felt like there was still room to improve, and decided to come back and not sign. That doesn't happen all the time, and so he's definitely a bit of a unique circumstance. You look at how, you watch him play, he impacts the game on both sides of the puck. And, Danny Russell's been so consistent for us. Since day one he got here, he's been a top line player for us, and love his story. He kid from Northern Michigan, he started in the North American League, went to the USHL, got sent back to the North American League. Him and Carson Dorward had chemistry right off the bat here, right? They had played together in Sioux Falls. And, you look at, if you look at how Marty's done for us, he's playing with Strams and playing with Russ, but a year before, Ike wins the Hobie Baker playing with the same two guys, and so Marty's certainly a great player, but I think he's fortunate to play with those two guys too, and the common denominator there too is even with Carson Dorward had played with Ike a little bit with Russ too, right? And so the common denominator is Danny Russell, and he makes guys around him better, and so yeah, it's hard to have guys like that, that are here for 4 years, but we feel fortunate and try and take advantage of having them.
Like Danny and Matt Baskill, another guy, like, do you feel like they have more of a maturity about him this year, and just the day-to-day focus? Because it seems from the outside like they might have that.
Yeah, they're both pretty focused guys. I think that was in their DNA when they got here, and I think Shouds is the same, right? Those three guys have been here. Knock on wood, never missed a game. Danny Russell's never missed a practice. Think about that, and we like to think we practice pretty hard, and he hasn't always been at 100%, right? And so he makes a decision every day. He's going to get out there and get on the ice, and but yeah, I think those guys they bring a maturity to our team for sure, big time leadership, and I've said it before, right? We didn't recruit any of those guys, and we feel fortunate. It's a gift from the previous staff, right? Those guys have been rocks for us, and we're going to need them down the stretch here.
Talk about the mentality of guys you recruit. I guess just with that, looking at the standings this weekend, it's something that people might call a trap game. Do you have to, guard your team against that sort of mentality, or do you just have guys in already that don't worry about that?
I think you always got to guard your mind, right? Especially the world we live in. Talked about it before, like social media and noise, and all the poison that's out there. And so we got to make sure we stay disciplined with that. And for our guys, I think that is since day one here, right? It's it's not about the scoreboard or who we're playing. It's about us playing the best we can play, and that's the standard. And play the standard. And I think we've been clear with our guys what the standard is, and we definitely that's important that we respect everyone we play, but we're not afraid to play anyone either, right? And so you can't you got to have that mindset. And this group, I think this is. It takes time to lay a foundation, and we got some guys that have been here through it with that same message, and So I mean, I think you always in the back of your head there's those thoughts, but I think our guys know how good Notre Dame is, right? They know how tough our conference is, and at the end of the day, anybody can beat anyone. And you've seen it in the playoffs the last couple of years, right? The 7 seed has beat the 2 seed, I think maybe 2 or 3 years in a row. So there are no nights off, and but it's not about who we're playing; it's about us playing to the standard.
Do you think blocking the noise comes a little bit easier for the veterans compared to the newcomers, or do you think that the newcomers are just as good at it because you recruited them?
No, I think it starts with leadership in the room, right? The guys talking about the right things, right? When you're on the back of the bus or whatever, it's not talking nonsense about rankings and this and that. It's focused on us and getting better. And then, but I do think trying to target families that are into that type of stuff, right? And I do think it's harder and harder to find, where it's truly about the team, and it's hard. I feel bad for young players, right? Because there's so much noise is thrown at them about their brand, and not that we don't value every guy and all that, but that's what makes hockey so fun. It's a team sport, right? And all of us, we don't have anything without the team, myself included, right? So I do think you got to have great leaders and have that message, but I do think it comes down to getting the right people.
Is it valuable to have so many youthful players on the team at this time in the season when it's kind of deeper in the season, guys maybe getting a little more tired, I guess?
Yeah. No, this group's been awesome, and I think I said that to him last week. I would say out of the time we've been here, I mean, it's been an enjoyable bye week, right, where the guys are actually, I think they're really into practicing, and they bring energy and they bring juice. My younger brother coaches in the American League, and they were on All-Star break, and he stopped by and with my dad and watched practice, and they were just ear to ear, seeing guys have a good time at the rink. We're working hard and playing, but there was energy and juice, and I think that's part of our job as coaches is you got to make it an environment where guys enjoy being at the rink, and but they got to make that decision too, right? That maybe it's going to be hard today, it's going to be a tough practice, but there's a lot tougher things to do in the world outside of having a hockey practice, so let's make sure we go hard.
When's the last time you had a team where you thought, I remember you talked about it back when you were at Shattuck Marriage, but having a team that wasn't enjoying itself like you, or you had to learn from, I got to do something different. Do you remember the last time you were a part of something like that?
No, I mean, I feel like when I go back, I've been fortunate, right? I played for some really good coaches. When I went to go play in the East Coast League, I played for John Marks, and John Marks was the all-time winningest coach in East Coast League history. Marksy made it fun to be at the rink every day, and that really left an impression on me. I was, when we got into it, you're like saying to yourself, I want to make sure guys feel like Marksy made us feel, you know what I mean? And not saying I'm perfect, and there's days that I'm sure that are harder for guys than other, but it's a long season, and it's hard I think it's hard to reach your potential if you're not enjoying being at the rink, and that doesn't mean it's easy, right? It's, if you look at how we practice, we practice hard, right? But I do think you can create that environment. So I feel like maybe some players would disagree with me on this, but I feel for the most part, again, and having a great staff, right? Our guys bring energy in to the day and are excited about being out on the ice. It's not like, we have to go practice. We get to practice, and especially in college, right? I mean, I think this was it was like 98th practice of the year, right? That's a lot of practices. So definitely making it where the guys enjoy being at the rink is important.
Is there anybody on this team that you think, I mean, there are probably several guys, but somebody you think that maybe flies under the radar, I'm grateful he's on this team?
I'd look up and down our lineup. There's a ton of them, right? Bazzi, just those 3 guys that have been here the whole time, right? I think change isn't easy. We didn't recruit them, so you're coming in. They had to trust us, right? And those guys, I've never seen them have a bad day at the rink. They give us everything they got. I think those 3 that have been here, that's special, for our staff, right? To trust us, and they're all about the team. Trey obviously is. The fact that he decided to come here when we were at the spot we were at, and he could have went anywhere he wanted in the country, and he had a vision and believed in Michigan State, wanted to be part of the solution, right? And he was kind of the first domino to fall. Patrick Erie's been awesome for us, he's an everyday guy. Max, you can go up and down our lineup. I feel like all of them, but those 3 that have been here 4 years are special guys.
You mentioned your dad and brother stopping by. Did your dad coach at all? I don't remember reading anything about that.
My dad was a college swimmer, so he swam at Eastern Michigan. And then he coached for a little bit. He ended up being a phys ed teacher and was coaching swimming. I think at that point he was kind of fried from being in the pool. I think the training was different back then. Like he was a sprinter, but the amount of hours they spent training was different. So I think then he ended up being a state trooper, and he coached my younger brother in hockey. He coached me in basketball, coached in baseball, would help coach our team. So he definitely was super involved with all of us. And I feel fortunate. I mean, he's the rock of our family, and look up to him big time. But he never coached me in hockey, but he'd coached Jared.
Do you think you and Jared get some of the coaching philosophy or genes, anything from him?
I think it's the old, your kids don't turn out like their neighbors, right? And so, I think my dad's, is extremely high character, even as a state trooper, the amount of state troopers I run into that had a ton of respect for him about how he did his job. And I think the team side of it was always the message to my brothers and I, right? It was, I don't remember how many goals you had or points or assists, but I remember the type of teammate you are. And, he really would only get on us ever if it was an effort thing or you were disrespectful, and I think that's something we've tried to carry through in coaching, right? Mistakes are going to happen. Hockey's not a perfect sport, but there are things you can control: your effort, your body language, your attitude, being respectful, and definitely those are things that not just in coaching, just even as a parent now, right? That I try to do. I'm sure I fall short of my dad, but I try to do that.
Do you have a favorite non-hockey Olympic sport?
It's been fun watching all of it. I mean, I think you think of the sacrifice for all these people, and whether they win a medal or not, it's going out there and a culmination, a ton of training and sacrifice from family members to get to a point like that, and so to see the passion out there. I mean, curling's probably been on the most. I've enjoyed that. I like the short track, speed skating there. It can be intense, but I think all of it. I mean, if we turn it on, I'll watch any of it, and but it's fun to watch the hockey. Obviously, that's what I'm really passionate about.